South Korea. Where is it? The official name of South Korea is Republic of Korea. This country in East Asia is slightly smaller than the country of Iceland. South Korea is located on the southern part of the Korean peninsula. Its closest neighbor is North Korea, which is the northern part of peninsula. South Korea has water on three sides: the Sea of Japan, called the East Sea by the people in the region, lies to the east, and the Yellow Sea to the west. The East China Sea is located directly south. With more than 9 million people, South Korea's capital city of Seoul is the country's largest city. It's one of the largest cities in the entire world. Seoul is located in the Han River in the northwest part of the country. Seoul is a modern center of trade and business. It's also an important historic landmark. The downtown area is enclosed by walls built more than 600 years ago. It contains centuries-old palaces and royal gardens. More than 49 million people live in South Korea. Aside from a small number of Chinese and Southeast Asians, most South Koreans speak the same language, Korean. South Koreans work in many different types of jobs. Many people work in manufacturing, making cars, ships, and other things to sell to other countries. South Korea also has many jobs in computers and related fields. Family is extremely important in South Korean society. Sometimes several generations live together in a single household. Many South Koreans respect their older family members by keeping detailed records of their histories. They also show respect on holidays with special food and ceremonies. Most Koreans see education as the key to success. Children are often excused for chores so they can study. Many sources agree that Korean students are among the best readers in the world. Land. Hills and mountains cover most of South Korea. Only a small part of the land is flat enough for farming. The Taebaek Mountains run along the eastern coast. Several other mountains ranges branch off, running roughly east-west. Most of the mountains are less than 1,219 meters tall. The highest peak is Mount Halla, a volcano, 1,950 meters. South Korea's eastern coastline is fairly straight. However, the rest of the coast is broken up by rivers and streams. They form countless waterways and feature more than 350 small islands. Streams and rivers line the lowlands. These waters have some of the highest tides in the world. Near Seoul, a water level varies above 9 meters. That's enough to cover a three-story house built so close to the water. Most of the South Korea's rural population lives in the coastline and inland plains regions. A plain provide fertile farmland for growing fruits like rice, fruits, and vegetables. South Korea has 4 seasons. Temperatures average 96 degrees Celsius in winter. In the summer, the highs are 29 to 32 degrees Celsius. Summer also brings the rainy season, when the country gets more than half of its rainfall each year. During this season, South Korea is sometimes hit by dangerous storms. Heavy floods is common. History. North Korea and South Korea together are an ancient area of more than 2,000 years of recorded history. People have lived in the area for at least 10,000 years. Its location kept it away from the rest of the world for hundreds of years. As a result, the result was the people with a common way of life, language, and political system. Over many centuries, kingdoms rose to take control of the land. Korea was also controlled by China, a Mongolian empire, and Japan. In 1905, Japan forced Korea to become a Japanese land. 5 years later, Japan made Korea a Japanese colony. Korea remained under Japan's control until Japan surrendered at the end of the World War II. The United Nations planned to return Korea to self-government at the end of the World War II. During that period, the United States had put in charge of the half of the Korean peninsula. A country called Soviet Union was put in charge of the northern half. However, the nation's leaders couldn't agree on how to set up Korea's new government. The United Nations ordered democratic elections, which South Korea held. North Korea set a kind of government that was less free. In 1948, the United Nations finally recognized South Korea's government as a government in North Korea and South Korea. 2 years later, North Korea moved into South Korea to try to bring the divided nation together by force. This started the Korean War, which cost 2.5 million lives and nearly destroyed both countries. The war ended in 1953 with a ceasefire agreement. This led North Korea and South Korea separated by a strip of land 4 kilometers wide. Officially, the two countries are still at war. Although they agreed to cease fire, they never agreed to peace. Celebration. Until the mid-20th century, South Korea was primarily a nation of farmers. As a result, many of the important holidays are linked to a moon calendar. New Year's Day is called Seollal. Sornar is the most important of the festivals. On this holiday, South Koreans celebrate everyone becoming 1 year older with food, gifts, and games, and fortune-telling. A harvest celebration called Chuseok is another important holiday. Families visit and clean their relatives' graves and leave food offering to show their respect. On a baby's first birthday, the parents place the objects in front of the baby and let the baby choose his or her favorite. If the baby picks up a book, he or she will be smart. Picking up money means the baby will be wealthy. Food. Korean food is often spicy. Kimchi and a food of little likely spice. Dakru and the rice are served at nearly every meal. Fish, seafood, and powdered rice cakes, called dak, are also important parts of Korean meals. Some South Koreans have an old saying, food is the best medicine. They believe that both health and sickness come from food. Having musical powers, for example, sweet red beans and a rice porridge are supposed to chase off evil spirits to give long life. Conclusion. Over the centuries, the people of South Korea have grown strong by working hard and showing respect to their families and for each other. This way of life was helped South Koreans win wars and stay strong during hard times. South Korea had become a modern world power, a country that people with a bright future.